Should probably have an entire vlog dedicated to my fascination with Jonathan Hickman's writing. It started with Secret Warriors, which is a Marvel series in which Nick Fury, who is the supreme spy master of the Marvel Universe, has become discredited, and since he's had all this time in espionage to find out who has potential in the Marvel Universe, he picks out all of these young superhumans with these caterpillar abilities and brings them together into a team to reach their full potential as heroes. My favorite character is Alexander, or Phobos, son of Ares, god of fear, in the Greek pantheon. And throughout its 5 volumes, a lot is revealed about the Marvel Universe, and which is truly delightful is that he wrote 2 other coinciding Marvel series called Fantastic Four, which you might have heard of, and S.H.I.E.L.D. And as he wrote the series, he intertwined the timelines and the characters that he created in the series and made it into one big timeline, which is something that most other writers don't do because they like keeping the timelines separate with cameos instead of actually interweaving the stories into interdependent things. Jonathan Hickman started with Nightly News, which I just recently acquired and read, and I think everybody should quite read this book, for it reveals the power of media in our lives and the effects of schooling and trusting in government intervention into the lives of the young. And while the goals of the people within the story may not be noble, because they just start killing off journalists to make a point, the various lessons and statistics and depth to which this is a really weird issue with media having an effect on our lives, being very untrustworthy, but we rely on them for information. It's a very notable and interesting look at it, and it's a bit twisted in some ways. Another one is Transhuman, which is the first of his Image things I picked up. And I think he wrote it when he was just angry. It's about how these 2 schools of improving humanity came along. One of them shot people up with all kinds of biomechanical engineering and made them into superhuman abilities, and the others just started replacing people with mechanistic parts to become cyborgs. The first corporation used a hand, and they redesigned it, having people amputate their hands to have a can opener and various other devices that will be installed later. And the effects upon humanity and the dehumanization that occurs because of it. And this Red Wing, which I do not understand still. It's about a time war, which is not Doctor Who related. It happens that this war is just fought throughout time and the devastation that results in it. Jonathan Hickman is very good with diagrams and science in his works, and he puts to full effect in this, having time being a stack of disks, for which you can transfer your consciousness and your relative dimension in space across the various timelines, as like a giant circle or donut, and you can just jump stacks to different universes and different times. And it's gonna take rereading to understand that, because I tried and I don't. But I followed him enough, so I started picking up Manhattan Projects, which was, I think, a 2010 series, perhaps 2011. Anyway, I bought this, and great, I have a second printing. Too bad. But the first printing is apparently worth about $65 right now. This is about one of the few series which I actually can see an investment of, yeah, this could be worth something. Which doesn't often happen in comics for me. Marvel just prints out things in bulk and doesn't often get to the point where they're resellable. Matt Fraction and David Asia's Hawkeye is an example of a very popular Marvel series, which is up to 5th printings, and quite happy to follow that one as well. But Matt Fraction is another subject for another day. The Manhattan Project focuses on the World War II era think tank scientists and what would happen in an alternate universe if they were not just working on the atom bomb was just the beginning, and they were working on all kinds of interesting things. The first issue alone is amazing, because they start delving into theoretical space, making people's ideas and mythologies, and taking people's thoughts of mythological weapons and actually converting them and pulling them out of the ether of ideas into actualities so that they can actually use them as weapons. And as the series goes on, the Americans team up with the Russians, and they start doing a coinciding program for how to reach the heights of science and scientific endeavors. Very twisted, interesting series, but as with most Hickman things, once they begin, I haven't a clue where he's going to take them, but I trust that he's going to make them mean something. He plants Easter eggs both forwards and behinds, very holistic thinker, and very good at planting diagrams and other things. I let my friend borrow Pax Romana, which is about if the Catholic Church, as it's diminishing as the 21st century goes on, what if Time Tower was discovered and they decided to go back in time to save the Catholic Church? It is one of my favorite ones by him because it actually explores the nature of power and our superior technology taken back in time and how it affects people and their views of how to actually wield that power and that responsibility. It shows the degrading of humanity and the alternate timeline of what actually occurs and how they have a Gene Pope with every holy man's beliefs and the Holy Roman Emperor who is but a child but is imbued with very long lifespan because the Dark Ages were not a thing that happened, so people have longer lifespans as well. Jonathan Hickman, I'm not sure what his religion is, but if he has one, it's in science and humanism, and the depths and darknesses to which they can descend.